Hello everyone, welcome to my assignment video for Module 4. Again, excuse me for my shameless display of my birthday on the beginning of this video. I am recording this on Friday, September 20th. I am 70 years old today. I know, I don't look it. Only kidding. This module, you have a quiz on special ed assessment. The hard copy is available and it's located right underneath the quiz itself. You can see, take the special ed assessment quiz, and right below is a hard copy, and there is a quiz discussion board which I'll talk about a little later. You have some readings to do, Chapuis and Stiggins, Chapter 3. You have an article on feedback, Smith, 2012, and another feedback article by Wiggins, 2012. So, two feedback articles, one learning target chapter. This module will begin our performance task. This is our major task for the semester, by becoming familiar with the EdTPA. Now, you have a choice based on where you are, birth through 2, 1 through 6, or 7 through 12. You can do the elementary EdTPA, the early education EdTPA, or the special education EdTPA. It's up to you which one you do. You'll see as you go through this exercise that a lot of it is similar. There are some things that are different, especially in the special ed one where you have to pick a focus student. But otherwise they're pretty close. There's a discussion board this week. You'll be posting 4 learning targets for which you will use to create questions for your selected response test. This is the first step in creating assessments. It's part of backward design where you create your assessment before you start your learning plan, your learning activity. So it's your big ideas, enduring understandings, questions, open-ended questions, and then your learning targets. That's Wiggins and McTighe. Jay McTighe. Somebody posted an article by Jay on the discussion board this week, and Grant Wiggins had passed away, so may he rest in peace, but he contributed a lot to the education field. So anyway, there's a couple of articles I've shared about Grant Wiggins. One is why we need to stop bashing state tests, and you'll get to that in Module 7, I think, large-scale standardized tests. But for now, we're talking about creating our selected response test, starting with learning targets. You are going to be in the same groups. So if you don't remember what group you're in, you can go back to, I think, the last discussion board or the discussion board before that. Module 2 or Module 1, if you look at those discussions, you'll see what group you're in. You're going to create 4 learning targets that are specific and measurable, and post them in your group in the learning target discussion board. You also will need to create a testing blueprint, an exemplar of which is in the discussion board, and I'll show you that right now. I've talked about that in my creating learning targets video, so make sure you watch that. But if you click on the learning, you'll see that there is a blueprint. I think my blueprint template doesn't have this little indentation here, but if you're good at creating tables, you can make that. So maybe I'll make it and put that template up there. I don't know. Depends on how pressed for time I am. There's Chapter 3 in Chapuis and Stiggins, gives you a lot, talks about creating a blueprint, talks about learning targets. You're going to give supportive feedback to your group and other classmates if you wish. There are a couple of articles on feedback, a very important part of the formative assessment process. So it's important that you read those. You know, I'm not going to quiz you on them or test you on them. but you should mention them in your responses about feedback. You're not going to be graded on responses like you are. This is a modified discussion board, which is only on the number, how early you post your initial post and how many responses you make. So that's it. There's no citing the text or anything else. So that's why I call it a modified discussion board. You need to post on 3 different days and at least 6 times for distinguished credit, or 10 times on 4 different days for A+ credit. It's going to be open till the end of Module 5, so you're going to have plenty of time. I think Module 5 ends October 23rd, I think. So, no, this is open till October 23rd, and it's the Module 3 one that's open till October 16th. So, what I find most important is the difference between a score of 2 and 3 and between 3 and 4 on the rubrics. I'm talking about creating reasoning questions now. I believe that technical aspects of the EdTPA, such as the 3 tasks, how many videos, permissions you need, those aren't big ideas. And a lot of people do that. Those are simple knowledge type questions that, it doesn't cause you to go deeper into the handbook. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to go deeper in the handbook. It's very important that you watch my Creating Learning Targets video, which is in Module 4, and I can go back to that here. You'll see where it says watch my video on creating learning targets. So that's where it is. That's important. Make sure you watch it. Here's a good example of a reasoning question. To receive a level 4 on rubric 12, providing feedback to guide further learning, which of the following would make more sense? Okay, so you can see where it's making more sense. Already you have to say, okay, which one of these makes more sense? And then there are 4 choices. So you can see that the answer can't be gleaned from searching for the correct answer in the EdTPA handbook. Instead, you need to make an inference based on your understanding of the nuances of the rubric. There are other sample reasoning questions in the exemplar tests that are located in Module 5. So Module 5, we're going to start writing our questions. So as you begin to create your initial select a response test, be aware of the select a response test rubric, which outlines the requirements. So just as a reminder, I don't think I have the rubric is listed down in wherever the rubric is due, and I'm not sure where that is due. Let me see. Is it? It's located in Module 10. It's going to be due on December 8th. So you have plenty of time to do that. And if you scroll down to Module 10, you'll see where it says Upload Revised SR Test. If you click on that and scroll down, you'll see the rubric. This is the rubric for the Select a Response Test. So there's a lot of good information in here, pretty specific about what's necessary, what's needed, and what you need to leave out. You will have a chance to revise your test before submitting it to me for grading, so take advantage of the feedback you will receive from me and your classmates as we go through this process. Also, make sure you watch my test creation video, which I am editing and will post during the week coming up. And finally, keep notes on the process, as you will be asked to reflect on it on your test creation process in your 3-part analytic summary that's due at the end of the course. As I mentioned earlier, you have a quiz this week, a special ed assessment. You have 2 opportunities to take it. Once again, this is my way to make a summative assessment part of the formative assessment process. If you use the SPED assessment discussion board, you may ask questions about the ones you got wrong. No answers, please. Just guidance. There are also a couple of sample EAS, Educating All Students, questions at the end. These are only worth a point, so don't stress over them. But for those who haven't taken the exams, to get a good look at what some of the questions look like. The Progress Monitoring Discussion Board continues through Module 5. There have been some great posts so far. As I mentioned, this is the first time I've done this, and I'm excited by the results and the discussions and people talking about ROI and slope and checking to see if their student is making adequate progress. So it's good stuff, good stuff. I'm really excited. And so often this part of RTI is lacking, and you don't see it. And I'm sure many of you who work in schools and the schools who do RTI haven't seen this kind of stuff done. And maybe some of you have, but if you have, it's very fortunate. So keep posting in that discussion board. So that's it for this week. Summer has officially ended tomorrow, actually, the 21st. So it's time to think about getting those bird feeders out. Do they have birds downstate? Of course they do. They have pigeons. So happy fall.